Hey there, Norman here from WoCode, and in this video we're going to be building a mega menu from scratch. Now we won't be explaining any specific widget options in this video. You want to check out our mega menu overview video for a full tutorial explaining all of the widget options. We'll be looking at Demo A from our demo example pages, which is linked in the description. In Demo A, all of our drop-downs are full width, and the About drop-down has 4 menu items on the left with titles and subtitles, and on the right, we have a company title, logo, contact details, and social. In our Features drop-down, we have 3 columns. Each column has an icon, a title, and a subtitle. And finally, for our Products drop-down, we have 3 columns with titles and dividers and subtitles. So let's go ahead and jump into the builder here and get started on this. So in the builder here, we have the site, and if we look at the pages panel, we have all the pages already created, but we've got no menu on the actual page. So let's go ahead and open up our widgets panel, and let's just grab that mega menu widget and drop that onto the page. Perfect. So now we can see that it's picked up all the pages on the site and the child pages are showing in the drop-downs. Right off the bat, let's do some styling on these top level items. We'll go to the Design tab, and then we'll go to Top Level Styling, and we'll set the horizontal margin to 20. We'll scroll down a bit, and we'll locate the parent indicator color, and we'll switch that to this dusty rose gold color that we have saved. Now, if you're following along, the hex code for that color is going to be DFA38B. And now if we scroll down a bit further and we locate the item title, we can change that to have a font size of 14. And we'll change the color to be this dark gray, which the hex code for that color is 3E4144. Okay, perfect. And then if we scroll down a bit further, we want to locate the item hover and do the same thing there. We want the font size for this one to be 15, and we want the color to be this dark gray color. Okay, now let's quickly preview this. We'll see that our top level looks good, but our drop down is missing the rose gold background color from the demo, as well as the text on the demo is smaller and white. So let's go ahead and jump back into the builder here. Let's open up our mega menu, open the Design tab, and locate the drop down regular item type. From in here, we're going to go ahead and locate the text styles. We'll leave the font as DM Sans, and we'll change the font size to 14, change the color to white, and I'm just going to go ahead and do that for the rest of the font in this tab. 14 size with the white text. Okay, we're good to go. Now we can go ahead and locate the drop-down container styling. We can scroll down and change that background color to be rose gold. Now let's give this a preview one more time. Now we can see that the text matches and we've got the white text on the rose gold background. Now, realistically, this is probably the opposite of how you would normally do things. Typically, you'd build out your menu and then style it. But since we know exactly the styling we want, we'll do it in reverse. Now, these initial styling settings are basically a starting point. We could fine tune the styling more later, but for now, we've just got some basic styling happening that matches the rest of the site. So with that said, jump back in here and start setting up our About menu item drop-downs. Now, if we take a look in our Pages panel, we'll see that we have an About page, and then we have 4 different About pages below that, About A1, A2, B1, and B2. And we want to show these in the drop-down itself. If we look at our demo, we'll see that we have 3 columns, and the 4 About pages are the first 2 columns. And we've got contact details and social icons in the 3rd column. So let's start by setting up a menu override. Let's Let's go ahead and close that, open up our mega menu, and we'll scroll down here to the very bottom where it says menu override. We'll create a new override, and we're going to link this to the about page. And then we're going to keep the item type as regular. We're going to change the drop down mode to full width, and we're going to jump down to distribution mode. We're going to set this to manual. And that's it for the about drop-down menu item override. The key thing we've done with this override is set the drop-down width to full and set the distribution mode to manual so that we can manually control the number of items in the columns. So let's scroll back down here to the add item override, and we're going to need to add 4 more overrides, one for each of those about pages. So we'll add 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if we jump back up here to a second one, the first out of the 4 we just created, we scroll back up to the top, we can link this then to the About A1 page. And now, if we scroll down to the item subtitle, I'm just going to go ahead and paste some lorem ipsum in here, just as some filler text for a subtitle. And then I'll repeat the step for the other 3 pages. So I'll scroll up to the top. We'll link this one to the A2 page. We'll scroll down, item subtitle, link this to the B1 page, scroll down, item subtitle, and lastly, we'll link this to the B2 page. Scroll down, item subtitle. So the main point of these individual about pages is just to add subtitle text. And so I've gone ahead and added all those. Let's go ahead and preview this now. Now, if we look at our drop down, we can see here that we're getting closer, although we still have 1 column and we're missing our contact detail and our social icons. So let's go ahead and add the contact detail and the social icons. Since everything we see in a menu requires a menu item override and a page connected to it, let's start by creating new pages for our contact details and social icons. So open up our Pages panel, and we'll just create 2 new pages. We'll call the first one About C1. And then we'll create our second page, and we'll name that About C2. Now we can go ahead and grab those pages and just bring them up so that they're children pages of the About page. Now, remember, we don't actually want these pages to be indexed by Google because they're not actual pages. So what we want to do is we want to locate the gear icon, open the SEO panel for each of the pages, click No Index, and now we're good to go. Google won't crawl those pages or index them. So we see that we have our pages created here. However, they are not actually in the About dropdown yet. So what we want to do is we want to refresh the builder, because the builder can't refresh itself, and that's the only way that the menu can properly update itself to show those pages in the proper order. Perfect. Now we'll need to create a few more menu overrides for contact details and social icons. So first, let's jump back to our home page just so that we're back on the default page. And then from here, let's go ahead and open the mega menu. Let's scroll down to the bottom. We're going to find the item override button again. We'll create 2 item overrides, one for the contact details and one for the social icons. So we'll open up the first one, and we will link this to the About C1 page. We'll change the item type to contact details. We'll set the width to 200. We'll scroll down. This display item title, we'll want to enable that. And then for the logo, we've already used this logo elsewhere on the site, so we can find it in the site images. I know the file name already, so I'm going to type that in. It's logo-810. All right, so we find that here. We hit select. And now we can scroll down a bit further, and I've already got contact information set aside. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that into the widget here. Perfect. So now let's go back up and grab that second item override and connect that to our social icons. So we'll link this to the About page, the About C2 page, and we'll change this item type to Social Icons. Then we'll just need to scroll down and enter some icon codes. Now we use Font Awesome library for our icons, and I already have the icon classes I need for this demo, but you can select these on the Font Awesome website, and you can check out our mega menu overview video for more information on how to get the class codes. So I'm just going to enter some class codes and site information here that I have set aside quickly. Oh, actually, this has to get moved up here to the third, and this has to get moved up here to the third as well, and we can delete those. Now, let's go ahead and preview this and see where we're at. All right, so everything is looking good, except that it's still appearing in one column, and that's definitely not what we want. Also, I am noticing that down here, this information as well as the social icons are not white. So let's go back and correct that very quickly. To do that, we'll open up our design tab. We'll locate our social item type, and we will change the item color to white as well as the item hover. Okay, and then we will go just below that to the contact item type. And we're going to change all the text to white. Scroll down here, change this to white. And go down to the address, change that to white. Close this, and let's preview this once more. And now we see that the details and the social are white. Perfect. So now what we want to do is we want to add our columns so that we have the original setup as the demo. So how we're going to do that is we're going to add our column separators. Now, column separators allow us to break up the content into separate columns. So we'll start by creating 2 new pages in our Pages panel. We'll open that up. We'll create a new page. We're just going to name this About Separator 1. We'll hit OK. And then we will create our second page, and we'll name this About Separator 2. Now we're going to take those pages and we're going to drag them up into the About page. We're going to take the About Separator 1 and we're going to use that to separate the About A with the About B pages. And then we'll grab the About Separator 2 and we'll do the same thing with that, except for this, we're going to use that to separate the About B from the About C pages. Okay, so now, just like before, we change the structure of the Pages panel, and we see those new pages in the menu, but we need to do a quick page refresh of the builder so that those separators go into the About dropdown. Now that that's loaded, let's go ahead and jump back into the home page here, and then we can open that widget up again, scroll down at the bottom to our item overrides. We're going to add 2 new overrides, one for each separator. We'll open up the first override, we'll link this to the About Separator 1, and we'll change the item type to Column Separator. Select that second override, do the same thing, connecting this one to the About Separator 2, changing the item type to a column separator. Now let's go ahead and give this a preview. And now we can see that our columns are looking good, but we need to set up some padding so that our content isn't stretched full width like this. So let's jump back into the builder here. Now, there are a few things that have styling applied, but we'll need to access several sections of the design menu to get these. I'm going to move pretty quickly through these because these settings are so specific to the demo, and you'll be using whatever settings works best for your mega menu. But just in case you're following along, I'm going to run through these and set them up so that we can recreate the styling found in our demo. So first, let's open up the design tab. Let's open up our drop-down container styling. In here, we're going to change the drop-down offset to 0, the full width side margins to 10, the vertical margins to 10, the horizontal margins to 20. We're going to scroll down. We're going to change the border color to rose gold. We're going to give this a 30 border width. We're going to scroll down a bit further. We're going to enable drop-down shadow. And then in the drop-down shadow, we're going to give the vertical offset a 16. We're going to give the horizontal offset a 10. We're going to give the shadow blur. We're going to leave that 25, or we're going to leave the shadow color as the same. Next, let's jump into our regular item styling. In here, we'll set the vertical padding to 0. We'll leave the horizontal padding. We'll leave the parent indicator. We're going to scroll down a bit further here. We're going to locate the item title. We'll leave everything in here the same, except we'll add a bold font format. We're going to scroll down a bit further until we locate the item subtitle, and everything in there is going to stay the same as well. And the last thing we're going to do is come down to the item icon size. We're going to change that to 35. Next, we're going to locate the social item type, and we're going to open this up. From here, we're going to change the horizontal margin to 4. We're going to scroll down. We're going to give this a top border. We're going to set that to 14 with no color. And then we're going to locate the icon size, and we're going to set that to 18. The last thing we need to do in here is change the item hover color to gold. And then lastly, we're going to locate our contact item type. We're going to open this up. In here, we're going to change the horizontal padding to 30. We're going to then change the logo width to 80. Now with that set, we can leave everything else in there the same. Let's go ahead and preview that about dropdown, and it's looking great. Now let's focus on our features dropdown. If we take a look at the original demo here, we'll see that we have 3 columns with subtitles. So let's go ahead and jump back into our builder and get started on that. Let's open up our menu, scroll to the bottom here, add our item override like we've done before. We're going to link this override to the features page. We'll leave the item type to regular, change the drop down mode to full width, and change the child item column to 3. Perfect. So now that that's set up, if we take a look at our pages panel, we'll see here that we already have our 3 pages set up. So we need to create an item override for all 3 of those pages. Let's open up the widget again, scroll down to the bottom, and create 3 item overrides. And then we'll open up each one of these and we'll link them to each one of those feature pages. So feature A, and then we'll come down here and we'll just add some lorem ipsum for the subtitle. And then we'll give this a font awesome class. So we'll give that a font awesome class of sliders. Okay, and then if we go down to our second item override, we'll do the same thing here. We'll link this one to feature B. We'll come down and we'll give this one some lorem ipsum as well. We'll give this one a font awesome icon class of store. And then we'll come down to the very last one. We'll link this one to our feature C. Once again, lorem ipsum. Oops. And then for this last one, we'll give this one a font awesome icon of sticky note. Now we'll go ahead and give this one more preview and see how it looks. And this is looking great. The only thing we have to change here is we have to make these icons white instead of gray. So let's jump back in. Let's go ahead and jump into our design tab. Let's jump into our regular items and let's locate the icon color. Scroll down here to the bottom, change the icon color to white. And then we'll change our hover icon color to white as well. Now let's give this one more preview. And perfect. That looks great. Let's go ahead and take a look at our last drop down here, our products drop down. Let's jump into our demo here and we'll see what we have are 3 columns, a heading at the top of each column for the product title, and all of the products have subtitles. Now, by looking at the demo, we know we'll need 3 headings and we'll need to create new pages and new menu item overrides for each of those. We should also create some new column separators so that the product columns stay organized, and we'll need some menu item overrides for all of the products because we just need to add subtitles for those. So let's go ahead and jump back into the builder and start by creating a menu item override for the products drop down itself. We'll open up our widget here, we'll scroll down, we'll create a new item override, and we're going to connect this item override to the products page. Next, we're going to change the drop down mode to full width, and we'll change the item columns to 3. Now we'll create the product heading pages. So let's open up our pages panel and let's create 3 new pages. We're going to call these product heading 1, product heading 2, product heading 3. Now we're using all caps because the headings use the page title for the heading text and we want these in caps. We also don't want Google to rank these and index these, so we're going to go into the SEO and we're going to no index these 3 heading pages here. Alright, so let's go ahead and expand the products page, and we can take product heading 1 and put this right at the very top of the products page. And then we can take product heading 2 and drop this between products 3 and 4. And then we can take product 3 and drop that between products 6 and 7. Okay, now we need to create a menu item override for all 3 of these pages. However, first let's give the builder a quick refresh since we did some adjustments in the pages panel. Okay, perfect. There we go. Let's just go ahead and load up that home page, and then we can open up this menu. We can scroll back down to the bottom and we'll create 3 item overrides. 1, 2, 3. We'll grab the first one, scroll back up to the top. We'll link this down to product heading 1 and we'll change the item type to heading. Okay, next we'll repeat that step for the next 2 overrides, linking number 2 to product heading 2 with the heading type, and then lastly we're going to come down to the bottom here and grab the last one, linking this to product heading 3 and a heading type. Now let's see how this looks in our preview. Alright, so we have our headers, however we do need to adjust some styling. So let's go ahead and jump back into the builder here. Let's open up that widget, let's go to design, and let's locate the drop down heading item type, and let's change the vertical padding to 20. Come down to the border, give it a bottom border of 1 and the color is light gray. And then let's come down to the text style, give this a 15 font size with the color white. So now we'll create the new menu overrides for each product in the products dropdown. So we'll come down here, we'll create the first one. We'll come up to the top here and we're going to link this to product 1. I'm going to grab some lorem ipsum and then I'm going to come down here and paste it into the subtitle. And that's all we need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat that process for products 2 through 9, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have product 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 linked here with subtitles containing lorem ipsum. So now if we go ahead and give this a preview, we can see that our drop down with 3 columns, a heading in each column, and all of our subtitles. One note here, we set the product drop down column count to automatic. As discussed earlier, if you have columns with different numbers of items in them, you'll definitely want to use manual columns in this case. That way you can control the columns properly. And as items are added in the future, you can place them in the correct columns. Since our example had an even number of columns, we were able to use automatic distribution. And that's a wrap for Demo A. Be sure to check out our other setup example videos to learn how to create more awesome looking mega menus and to discover some more menu item override types and features. If you want to learn more about the individual settings in the widget menu, check out our mega menu overview video. That's going to do it for me. I'll see y'all next time.